So, hello everyone. Uh, Today we have another session of uh, Cardano Go Live Coding, which we talk about all the Golang or Cardano and the combination of these two things. And one of the main topics of last weeks were Go PBL and all the things related to that. But since James is not here in this session so we might take today to another route to whatever we want. For example, I have a bug. I can bring this and we can discuss it and have a mutual suffering instead of beer. Sometimes we need cortisol instead of alcohol. That's good for body sometimes. So we can do that, or if anything comes up, we can take that and talk about it. So first, let me ask our audience, uh, do you guys want to talk about something today, or should I present or festivity about that bug? I mean, if you call it bug, I still
Well,
not sure.
let's start with the bug, and then we can maybe go into a little bit of live coding today.
Okay, sure.
All right.
So let me share my screen. So let me explain the bug and the bug and what would be the process of recreating that. So there is a transaction which three contracts uh, comes to that transaction. Two of them are a spending contract. So we spend two UTXO on these two contracts addresses, and they have their own redeemer. Sorry, this is not the one here. They have their own redeemer, and we use the collect from function, all this thing. And also there is a burning. So there is a minting, I mean, burning, but we need to use the minting function for that. And there are other things like the reference of the contracts code, and that would be all for that. And the input, which is user, the user must have a token in order to initiate and validate this transaction. And the outputs are one will be paid to the user, which is that token came as an input, I mean, spending, and one is going to be paid back to one of uh, uh, the spending contracts. So it's just come and the datum gets updated and the UTXO goes back to the contract. So here's the issue. The issue is once this transaction run and once this complete function runs, which inside this complete function, we have, let me close some of this thing. We have a function for set redeemer indexes, which takes the inputs, all the inputs coming from contracts, or user addresses, whatever, and align or set or assign the correct index to the redeemer, or redeemer to the input. So all this stuff we will see in the witness will be done by this guy. And then there is a update execution unit. So for some reason, which is still unknown, and I talked with Eduardo, and he's well, super busy. We spent some time, still we couldn't figure it out. We get the redeemer correctly. So the index and redeemers, as we explore the transaction, which we are going to do it again, the CBOR, seems correct. And because of that, if we send this transaction to Block Frost or Maestro, doesn't matter, uh, we get the execution unit because it shows that transaction is successful. It is all the validation and conditions are met in all those contracts. As I said, 3 contracts, so all of them met, no problem, and they returns back the memory and CPU execution, which this function is going to substitute the correct value into the transaction. But when I try to run that again, same function, I mean, same functionality, for getting the uh, evaluate TX, it is same function. I will send the CBOR again to the block frost, and I want to get back those execution memory unit. So this operation happens 2 times, and the second time it returns empty. And if I try to submit this CBOR, the CBOR which was generated by this transaction, which has all those execution memory unit inside them, I get the error of one of the input index doesn't match with its redeemer. So let me show you all this story. So uh, let me run the backend, and there is a simple front end, and the token is going to be witness or be is input is this guy John, and there is this simple code that we will look into it as well. But if I just make a query to that backend by just connecting my wallet, uh, I wrote this transaction to be able to uh, show me, or I mean, act upon the successfulness of the transaction. So if the transaction returns something as evaluate TX, I assume that is successful, so that I will send the CBOR to the front end and all the signing, all the process start. But if this returns empty, I send back an error, like 400 error. There's something wrong with the transaction and all that. So as we can see, it returns 400. Why? Because at this line, for evaluate TX, I get nothing. It just returns empty. And returning empty means there is something wrong with the transaction, so that one of the contracts, something doesn't work, doesn't validate. But if I take this CBOR, copy it, and try to deserialize it, let me go. What? No. If I zoom in, as you can see, this is the part for all the, all those contracts. And we have, as you can see, we have 3, one here, one here, and one here. And this is the part for their execution units, which are the CPU execution units and memory execution units. And as we can see, we have them. So that evaluate TX, exactly same function, which was run incomplete, which is inside this update unit, uh, EX units, which we can go and find it. Go definition, this is update, and here is the another function, estimate X unit. And if we go inside that, basically it is returning evaluate TX answer. It works, no problem. The contract works, the datum are correct, inputs, output, index, whatever was sent to Block Frost at first time was okay. and works, and they returns the correct uh, execution units. But when I send the same transaction again, it returns empty. And you might say, maybe that's the case. Yeah, you cannot send a transaction with these units are inside them. Well, it doesn't matter. If something is inside them, it doesn't matter. It just returns again because that block frost doesn't care about this. This is a part we call them witness section. So it doesn't care about what anything happens here that much. So in other transaction, which I can show you, that function, and I use them every other function here, like evaluate tx. It works and it returns the exact number, these numbers. But here, for some reason, it doesn't. But here, let me try to submit it manually. So if I take this CBOR and coming back to this code and try to sign it, let me go with this guy. I mean, comment this guy so I don't query the backend again. Just try to, submit it with Mesh or Lucy. It doesn't matter. I mean, this is the same thing. So same error happens. So we have both of them are here. So we can submit them with this is for Lucy, this is for Mesh. So the error are same. But if I try to do that, so I manually put that CBOR, try to submit it, and if I try to connect my wallet again, a pop-up will come. And that pop-up, which is the signing here, shows that, yes, the transaction is okay. These are the inputs. We have 3 contracts here. This is the witness set. You see that there is index 0, and that there is 2. Okay, that's okay, fine. And same are for the inputs. Okay, so let's submit it. Let's sign it and see what happens. Where is the? I mean, but I should say that most likely I'm missing something, but I'm not seeing. I'm not looking carefully. So yeah. So if you see something that doesn't look okay, sure, tell me. But if I try to sign it and submit it, I get this error, and here in the wallet, in the transaction, there is this here, and I quickly get this transaction is invalid. So before the submission happens, I get invalid. From whom? From Blockfrost. And what is the error? So this is the error. Can let me a little bit zoom in. So the whole error says that there is a transaction as input, and its index is 1, but something is wrong here. So that's the thing that I still do not understand. How come if there is problem with this CBOR, if there is a problem with this guy and there is an error, whatever, how come when I send this CBOR to block frost, I get these guys? No problem. But when I send the same thing, I mean, if I assume it's the same thing, to block frost again, it returns empty. And if I try to submit this guy with its content to the front, to a wallet, I get this error. So yeah, and it says that, you see that, so I mean, okay, let's look at to the error. I mean, first, if anyone has a question, but if there is an error, I mean, sorry, if there is a question, sure, please open your mic. But let's little bit dig into the error. So the error says we have an input, And this is input for spending, and it comes from a contract. I can show you. So at the top of this guy, inputs, like we have 4 inputs, right? We have three of them come from, I mean, two of them comes from contract. This is the guy, see, and uh, this I think this guy comes from wallet. But let's count them. Let's count them for their index. So this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2, and this is 3. So index related to this guy must be 2, right? So again, starting from 0, 1, and 2. So the index to the redeemer at witness set must be 2, which is true. It is 2. And the error says that we have an index like this is, and it, well, doesn't work. It should be index or something. Indexing has issue. Missing redeemers. I don't understand. I don't get that. And if we again look into the witness set here, which is this part, but in more human readable way. If I let me zoom in a little bit, we can say that, okay, this guy, I mean, this is the data, I mean, this is the redeemer data, but we have an index 2. And this index 2 is related to this guy because we start from 0. And this is the same thing. The errors tell me it doesn't have redeemer. So this is that I don't understand. It is telling me that the inputs have a missing redeemer, but the redeemer exists. It points to the correct index. And still, I have no idea how this happened. And again, something was right. Therefore, in first request, we got these numbers, but something changed, which I don't know, and make the second request to get these numbers problematic, empty. So that's the thing that I'm still, I mean, for weeks, still I'm trying to figure it out. I look to the many things, printing out many things, and still I don't get that. I mean, yeah, we thought the indexing is a problem. Why? Because, well, there is a error, right? The error is the same. Well, there is a list already made, doesn't match. But when we look to the script, when we look to the seaboard, index matches. Any thought? Any question? Any feelings?
Aren't the redeemer outputs or the redeemers indexed differently than they are in the actual uh
Yeah,
transaction outputs?
I was going to mention that when you're looking at redeemer indexes, it uses the same sorting method as it does inside like when Pluto scripts are executing. They are sorted um, alphanumerically by the hash of the input. So it's not the order that the inputs are in the transaction. It is the alphanumeric order of the uh, input UTXO ID, like the hash and index, that is used to sort the redeemer indexes. So yeah, like looking at these 4 inputs, the one you were highlighting before, the D85, that looks like it would be redeemer index 3.
Yeah.
because it would be the last in the list sorting these four and zero based, so three.
So okay, let's look at the sorting function, and also some of the uh, functionality Eduardo just added. So it is not like
So you were actually looking at it in the Apollo Builder.go code. There was a call to sort inputs when it was getting the redeemer indexes.
yeah,
I don't think,
yeah,
yeah,
that one. But we
yeah,
wrote that.
that's
It wasn't
exactly what
there.
that's for. Okay,
Uh,
okay,
it wasn't there that much. It was just set. It wasn't set index redeemer. It wasn't. It wasn't any function in regards to sorting because Eduardo was using the like the built-in sort function of Golang. So let me go for sort. Find it again.
yeah. I
So
do remember
here,
I had to implement my own sorting function in Bluefin for the same problem because there wasn't one exposed in Apollo, but that was also 6+ months ago.
okay. So the sorted input. Can you recall that? Like, how did you sort it? Or I mean, this is the function for sorting. Let me. So now it is sorting. I mean, this is sort dot slice hex a string. We are sorting based on the hex, and this is the sorting for the inputs, of course. And based on that, this is the result. Therefore, the D85 is at 2 and the 20 or 2, but I don't know based on a hex. I mean, this is which number? I'm looking 2, I think. I'm not D. So this code sort them like that. So I mean, here was something we changed that, like we changed it to this guy. Same issue has happened. Maybe we got another error, if I remember. But and here index. But let me look. I mean, if you guys have implemented for Bluefin, maybe I can look at. Is it in Bluefin or Goroboros, that function?
I was just looking at the code, and it doesn't actually seem to be in Bluefin. It Yeah, it may have been on something internal we were writing.
Okay. So this is the set redeemer indexes and so yeah, here is the issue. For some time we still haven't figured it out. I think we thought there is an issue of the assigning of redeemers to their corresponding inputs, but it is correct now. I mean,
So I
at
just
least.
went and found that code. That code I had written was only a function to look up the index for a particular input. It was just using the Apollo.sort inputs function there. So it was
Apollo
using that
dot
exposed function.
hmm. But that expose function was working. And now, But are you sure, guys, that this must be at the last one?
Yeah, that's how it should work for redeemer indexes. It's
Yeah.
sorting alphanumerically based on the input IDs. So you
Right.
get a consistent sort order, and that's how they're
So the sort
evaluated
order
in
should
CUDA
the
scripts.
sort order here should be 02257F D8.
Right. Which
0,
would make the
2.
D8 redeemer index 3. Yeah.
Okay. So if I go back here, let me try others again, maybe.
And of course, the fun part about this is you can't just say, "Oh, that input's always going to be 3," because well, your input UTXOs change all the time when you're building a new transaction, so the sort order is different on a
Yeah.
new TX. So that's what makes this fun.
Yeah, I know about that, but I warned you guys about that fun. So let me query that again in order to build that transaction and seaboard and see is that change the ordering. I mean, at least testing that hypothesis. I mean, not functionality, not even. So okay, same thing. I mean, we have error here. Well, let me. I mean, so right now we got 0 for this guy. I mean, this big guy is the. I mean, and we got 0. So you can see that first query to block frost in previous sorting. You know, I just changed this guy. At least the first try was giving us the correct number, but now it just sends wrong number. Why? The inputs. But the inputs now is just 1. And one of them are, I mean, it shouldn't be 4, and now it's 3. So it's absolutely, this is not the case. So, and so that must be, and then I don't know. So maybe I should use the function for comparing.
It looked like one of your transaction inputs was getting lost, which would of course change the sorting for the redeemer indexes.
Yeah, one of the inputs are lost. I mean, for some reason it didn't came to the transaction, which it had to come. Other and because it wasn't here, we didn't get those CPU execution unit at least at the first try. So something just changing this number. I mean, these are the encode transaction ID to hex and comparing their numbers. Reduce one UTXO as input, and I just changed that, right? I mean, I just changed this number. I didn't touch anything else. And if I run this again, copying that, let me just not clear to see. So you can see now, okay, we have the numbers. Another change is the inputs. Now we have 4s. So this is something very fishy function. Just changing one symbol, basically remove one input transaction entirely for some reason. So yeah, it was we were trying to figure out what is wrong with this function. And this function works perfectly fine in other transactions, perfectly fine, no problem whatsoever. And not index on the equivalent, as far as I'm aware of. We have functionality, we have several contracts, sometimes a transaction in that. It is but both of them are dexes. But here, uh, I don't know. There are some what is the thing this thing. I mean, this one is really puzzling me. What is that? Order. Why it sends this? Why I get these numbers, but I don't get it in second time. So yeah, that's the fun thing. Still, I'm trying to figure out. We by the way, we sort them. Oh, we sort them 2 times. I forgot about that. So let me comment this guy and see what happened. I forgot that we added 2 sorting. Copy. Let me open another. So now the order has changed. It's just this is, but uh, this is wrong. This shouldn't be 2. This should be 0 because the inputs, this is wrong. This is 0. But somehow it doesn't match with the index. That's absolutely correct. So it is really interesting that we have like we have to sort these 2 times. One here, which is, you see that same function, it goes through this loop, does something, returns, I mean, the sorted or the set index, and redeemers somehow doesn't match with the inputs. But let me go back to do something, maybe. So let me change this guy now. Yeah, doesn't work. Oh yeah, that is the issue, and I don't know. So, anything else, guys? Any, let maybe not maybe come back and maybe I should use the sorting that I am using for comparing the hex, because this comparison maybe is not correct. So let me use a function that I wrote before. For there is a I use suitability. So for comparison of the comparing hex string, I used this function compare. So maybe this is the one. Okay, let me try that.
Maybe Block Frost and Maestro have the same bug and they're making you think you have a bug. That was just
There was, but
a thought.
there was. I mean, they've changed the. I mean, some weeks ago they changed the withdraw to withdraw for some reason, and Apollo wasn't working because of that change in the name and in their API. So sometimes, yeah, this happened. But the thing is, and here is the weird thing that still I don't get. Same thing, Maestro. I wasn't able to send the query from my system. I mean, some reason my network gets blocked by Maestro. But when Eduardo tests that, same thing. First time when we send this UTX, sorry, this seaboard transaction, it works fine. Therefore, they return these values, these values. These values cannot be returned if there is some like one epsilon wrong with the transaction. These values will be zero. Like here, empty will be the answer. Maestro and block for us, zero, because it fails. Those smart contract fails. It returns error. What error? I don't know. I don't know the error. We don't have a Bluetooth, I mean, quote unquote Bluetooth engine to know the error. But these numbers shows that there is no error. That they work, and this is the number. This is the cost for working, and not just one smart contract. All of them. All of them works fine and without any problem. These are the numbers. But the second time I send that, something. So that is the thing that I don't know. That the first transaction, this order probably is different. And the second transaction, this order again is different. This is not the first transaction order. If it was the same order for the first transaction, when I try to submit this seaboard manually, we shouldn't get that error. But the first transaction seaboard, I cannot get that. So, I mean, here, try to, like printing the, I mean, maybe it's possible if you guys know, but I try to print the, where is it? Let me go to where did I? Okay, Apollo, where are you? Apollo Builder, complete. So I try to, print out that transaction, but still the order was same. So that's something which is weird. But maybe if the sorting is problem, I'm using this bytes compare. Maybe that something that you can use. So let me go to the so that if you're not correct, should be byte.compare, and I should be able to. Hmm.
I mean, I would expect the string comparison of the encoded hex for both of those to compare just fine without any special care.
Really? But
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
remember here I had the issue. I had to use this function compare to this lexicographically comparison instead of like simply which one is higher, which one is lower or something. But
right,
this
but I believe doing a simple comparison with strings will do a lexicographic comparison like that. You only need the special function when it's a byte slice versus string.
oh
Yeah,
okay.
I think that the native way that strings are compared in Go is lexicographically, because all strings are UTF-8, so they're easy to compare. It's just doing a byte by byte comparison internally.
So let me do something. I'll try to. Maybe I can do it this time. Maybe we can see something. So in update, you need here and estimate this guy. We should be able to get the CBOR. I mean, before sending that CBOR to the block for us to get the numbers, let's print them out. Empty dot print estimate. Yep, that would be nice. And what was the function for printing out the CBOR in correct format? Uh, let's see this guy. Let me clear. So let's compare to CBOR. Okay, so we have one CBOR and this. Okay, the one CBOR. Let's copy it. Make this guy clear. Wait. Uh, this is not the CBOR. Oh, maybe that was the CBOR all along. Let me see. Where did I go? Okay, this was TX byte. Okay, this is the TX byte. Okay, okay. So I didn't need to convert it to another CBOR. What just? What's that? Okay, so now we have this guy. Got 6. Okay, so the order has changed. I mean, the order is this guy, but I mean, because of that, and still, it works. Although the order of the, I mean, this is wrong, but somehow it works. But let's see here. Interesting. So somehow we have this new UTXO. I mean, this UTXO is not being sent to the block frost. No problem. So this is the UTXO. This is the seaboard transaction which was sent to block frost and returned these values.
Now you're regenerating the whole transaction from Apollo again, right? To do the second call. Like it's possible that Apollo's reevaluating like some of its inputs and like deciding to build it differently the second time for some reason.
I don't know. I'm just doing this get TX. I took this. I mean, like all this signing part commented. So after the complete, I use this function to get the transaction, and then getting the bytes of that transaction, I mean the pointer, of course, and then evaluating that TX byte. I mean, of course, converting to CBOR, same TX byte, but evaluating that. So if we go to the get TX, it just returns the BTX. So it just like a structure, it just returns this guy. I don't know, don't see any operation happens from here to here. And as you can see, this was sent to block for us or Maestro. It doesn't matter. So there was, so that's the thing. Somehow this guy, this guy are different. Why? Obviously there is this UTXO kind of has been added. Maybe it's fine. Maybe that's the usual thing. So the estimation doesn't need to have some extra stuff. I don't know. This is but even the orders are same. They are zero. Yeah, okay, so this is zero. And the redeemers
But
for
remember,
that.
the order, yeah, the order in the inputs doesn't matter for the redeemer index. They're sorted lexigraphically and then indexed. So it doesn't matter that D5 D85 input is always first in the transaction. That doesn't mean anything for the redeemer indexes.
But here, this guy should be the third one, right?
So assuming
So
the
the
second
redeemer
field there in
itself,
the yeah,
or no?
assuming the second field is the redeemer index, it's 2, which makes sense for those 3 inputs if it's supposed to correspond to the D85 input. So that makes sense.
But how? Because here right now it is zero.
Because they're sorted. Like if you sort those 3 inputs lexigraphically, D85 is the last one, index
Last
2.
one.
And that's
But
how
why
the
it is not
redeemer indexes
reflected
work.
here? Why it is not reflected here?
Because the order on the inputs is unrelated to the redeemer index order. It's like an internal sorting. Yeah, there's no need for those to match.
Okay, so here now we have another input inside the transaction, which was not there for some reason. So now if the order here doesn't matter, still we have this guy, great. But why when I try to submit this CBOR, I get that error of missing
Because
redeemer?
redeemer index 2 that you have here now no longer, it points to a different transaction input. Because with that 4th input, the lexicographic sort order changes and your target transaction is now redeemer index 3 with that extra input. That's
Okay,
why
so let's
submitting
suppose,
this gets an error. So the real question is what's happening to make the inputs change? Where does that extra input come from, or where does it go, depending on which direction? Like that's the real question.
so here we get the clone estimate. I mean, and evaluate TX. Up to here, no problem. But incomplete, once we have this evaluate TX, there is this add, change, and fee. And build TX buddy, so maybe this guy is adding something. So I wonder if I mean, so add and fee has to be after, of course, right? After the evaluation. Otherwise, we don't know the fee. So here, add, change, and fee. Get burned, get positive means per selected ETX. So okay, where do we append anything here? And yep, here we added. So we have added another UTXO to that per selected UTXOs. And also the use UTXO as well. This is a loop. Yeah. Is it UTXO over the limit? You just else payment policy, append payment. So here that new UTXO is being added. And because that new UTXO is being added, it has to be sorted again. And because it needs to be sorted again, so let me do something. What if the complete exact no? What if I take this guy and put it here? So after that updating everything index whatever, I sort that again. I mean, this sorting was why this sorting changes shouldn't be okay. Okay, I see. So let me here go back here. Just doing the last try and then so this let's see this is the or cliffhanger or not. But no, still we get the 400. These are same. Yeah, because that sort happened, now this is true. This is the true one, right? They are sorted. Nice. But again, that evaluate TX send me something. This is wrong. But why? Because here the sorting was different. Sorry for yeah. So here it is 2, but in fact now it is 3, and yep, that's the issue. Well, thank you, everyone. I think we found the issue. So the issue, if I just summarize it, the issue is the transaction being sent to Block Frost is different. The transaction we receive and send it back to Block Frost again. And why is that? Because we have sent a transaction with these set of inputs, which works fine without any problem. Therefore, we returns numbers. I mean, Block Frost returns numbers, which are these. But then this new input is being added, which is this guy, for paying the fees and changes, all the things. And once we have added this guy, now the inputs have different indexes. Right now, for example, it is 0, 1, 2, 3. So this guy is 3, but in the redeemer itself, it didn't reflect it. Because as you can see, the index is 2, which must be 3. Therefore, the witness set and the above, in fact, doesn't match because the above got updated, but the below didn't get updated. Okay, thank you, everyone. Let me stop sharing. But by the way, if you have any question, sure, please ask. But thank you, Ara, for helping me this out. Thank you, everyone else.
Thanks a lot.
Have a great day and night. See you later until another bug and festive of cortisol and suffering. Take care. Goodbye and have a great day and night. Goodbye.